January 19th begins with the rivers, before the names, before the borders, before the sound of any flag flapping against a pole. The Coosa whispered into the Tallapoosa, the Tombigbee bent around the pines, and the Tennessee rolled cold through stone valleys, where the Cherokee hunted deer by moonlight. The creek planted corn that shimmered gold against the clay. The Choctaw carved stories into wood and memory, and the Chickasaw watched the sunrise from high ridges that trails like veins across the body of the South. They called the land home long before maps did, their footsteps marking time deeper than any clock. Then came the glint of armor, 1540, DeSoto's men wading through the swamps, their helmets catching the light like broken mirrors. They carried prayers and plagues in equal measure, leaving behind crosses and silence. A century later, the French built Fort Louis near Mobile Bay, the air thick with the smell of salt and pine pitch. Priests baptized, traders bartered, and ships sailed for faraway kings who would never see the land they claimed. Then came the British, stamping their flags after the 7 Years' War. Then Spain again with cannons and orders. Then the United States in 1813, folding this tangled history into the young Mississippi territory. By January 19th, 1880, at St. Stephen's, lawmakers gathered by the Tombigbee. River flatboats drifted past, loaded with cotton and dreams, and men in heavy coats wrote down laws that would become Alabama's first heartbeat. They argued over borders, banks, and the future, never knowing how close the thunder of war already was. "43 years later, January 19th, 1861, winter wind cutting through Montgomery streets. The Confederate Convention sent word to the world Alabama was leaving the Union. Telegraph wires hummed like angry insects, and in cabins across the hills, families listened to the news by candlelight, hearts torn between pride and dread. The land that had known so many flags now raised another, one born from fear and fire. Horses stomped in muddy fields, young men sharpened bayonets, while mothers prayed the sky would hold. But time turns, and even the loudest cannon fades into memory. A century later, on that same day in 1961, the sound was different, not of war, but of resolve. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood in Montgomery's churches, the same city once crowned in secession banners, and spoke of a kingdom built on love, not hate. His words rolled down Dexter Avenue like a new kind of thunder, shaking not walls but hearts. always reaching, always rebuilding. January 19th carries every sound, the crackle of campfires, the hum of telegraphs, the chant of marches, the roar of engines. It is the same song sung in different keys. Defiance, devotion, discovery. From moccasin to moon boot, from sermon to silence, it tells the rhythm of a land still finding harmony. A chorus of rivers, rockets, and redemption, echoing forever through Alabama's red clay and open sky.